Hi Gemini, welcome to your May 2016 Tarotscope. It's Raina here. So what I'm doing is I'm combining my typical monthly love reading with the more general Tarotscope, because sometimes when I would do the general ones, it would show up as a love reading, and that might have been important for some people. So I also am going to be doing the astrological transits that I feel are important for the month. And so there's a lot happening in your 7th house, actually, because the full moon on May 21st will be at 1 degree of Sag. And in addition to that, we have a couple of planets that are retrograding, and they're both in Sagittarius. One of them is Mars, and the other one is Saturn. And so all of this intensity, when you get Saturn and Mars in a house together, it's sure to kind of heat things up, along with a full moon, can really bring some matter to a head or to light that perhaps you've been kind of dancing around when it comes to a committed partnership. So yeah, there's actually going to be a blue moon, because there's going to be 2 full moons in the sign of Sagittarius. The other one is going to be on the summer solstice on June 20th, and that will be at 29 degrees of Sag, and then the first one is at 1 degree, so they're like bookends. So as I told Taurus, I feel that this is, something being revealed in May around the 21st, and then a resolution of some sort, whether it's an ending or some sort of fruition coming in around the 20th of June, so about approximately a month later. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out for all of you. In addition to that, with Mars going retrograde in the 7th house, it could be that some old issues surrounding some kind of conflict within a marriage or a committed partnership are brought under review. When Mars is retrograde, it's not on a warpath in the same way. It's kind of tamped down energy, but that can actually lead to more frustration because Mars likes to kind of express itself. So be careful of any kind of passive-aggressive tendencies. Try to, if you are having any conflicts within a relationship, keep things above board so there's no, opportunity for passive aggressive or indirect behavior to blow up in your face, And Saturn, has been transiting through this house. And so, I read once that they said that either it will finish a relationship that was on shaky ground while it goes through the Saturn transit through the 7th house, or it will make it stronger. So, it's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger type of deal. And, as an air sign, and particularly being the first air sign, Gemini, you are associated with the spring. So there's kind of like this youthful, and, the shadow aspect is immature, kind of an energy that emanates from you that relates to how you process emotions even, because air signs are not known for really embracing emotions on any deep level. So whether it's you having to deal with something that is very romantic, that could cause you to feel uncomfortable, or something that is very dramatic and full of sadness, that likewise may not be something that feels really comfortable for you. But in any case, this energy that kind of gets generated might feel a little bit overwhelming if you have a tendency to kind of sweep things under the rug. So just, forewarned is forearmed, right? So in any case, let's see what else is happening. A lot of this energy as the month begins will be in your 12th house, the woo house, as I call it. All the stuff related to kind of spirituality, but kind of the collective unconscious. I don't know if Jung created that phrase, but definitely how we're tied together as spirit souls. And also past lives. It deals with, it's ruled by Neptune, Pisces, so it's anything related to them. It could be creativity, but especially that is kind of inspired by a spiritual source. And it deals with illusion, the 12th house, but it deals with things that we have buried issues. And when the sun is there, it kind of highlights these things and brings them out into the open, and you're like, wow, I don't really want to deal with this. So you have the sun there as the month begins, as well as a new moon there on the 6th. So that could be a good opportunity to start some sort of routine that relates to any kind of spiritual practice. That might be good, like meditation. Hatha yoga is a form of active meditation. And it opens up some of those channels that, get imbalanced, from time to time, and the intuitive faculty, balancing all the chakras. So you can do things like that. And Venus will go into your sign on the 24th of the month, okay? So then you will be seen by others, because the first house is not only your physical body, but also your image. You'll be seen by others in a very favorable light, and you will be seen as charming and attractive, and that can benefit you both in career as well as your personal pursuits, your romantic pursuits. So I think that there's a lot going on, but it's going to be very positive in terms of spirituality, as well as in terms of getting to the bottom of relationships. Now, it may be, for some of you, a little bit tumultuous. I'm not going to deny that. For some of you, maybe not all of you, but just remember that this is a general forecast, and the exact transits may occur for you at different times. Remember that there are natal charts and solar charts. If you're watching this as a sun Gemini person, then you're looking at it from the solar perspective, versus, the exact time of birth is the natal chart. And actually, when I do personal readings, I really prefer to have the exact time of birth, because I feel that in terms of predictive ability, it gives that much more accuracy. So just keep that in mind, that whatever I'm talking about here may not transpire for you at the exact time that I say it will. So without further ado, I'm going to pick the cards, and I'm still getting used to this setup, so hopefully everything will be in frame. It's kind of a new experience for me, so bear with me. And what I do when I shuffle the cards, and then I shuffle them even as I'm picking them. I keep, so I don't just pick, X number in a row, because sometimes you never know if they will kind of be still together even after you're shuffling them. By the way, the Six of Cups just jumped out, so I'm keeping that one. It's really interesting. I know some people really can do that professional shuffle. They would fall over the table if I tried that, if I attempted that one. So no, I don't think so. So I'm picking the card from the bottom of the deck as the focus of the reading. And this is Eight of Pentacles. I just picked that for Taurus, but not for the same position. So let's talk about the focus then. So the focus is somebody who is a craftsman perfecting their craft. Now remember that I am going to be talking about career as well as love. So I will cover all the bases for you guys. And so for somebody who is, concerned about finding the perfect job, if you are employed elsewhere and you're just kind of going through the motions, this card, Eight of Pentacles, may be talking about you doing something that is a labor of love. So it doesn't have to be you quitting your day job, but just taking up something that really is what you're all about. And maybe you haven't gotten a paycheck from that yet. Maybe you do it as a hobby. So that might be something that appeals to you. But for people, it's about working hard. It's about being an apprentice. You might have to get more training in whatever it is in order to make it work. But it's a very industrious energy. So it could be that in May, you're going to be really rolling up your sleeves. But it's not going to feel like the Ten of Wands. It's not going to feel like you have too much on your plate and it's a burden. It's just like you're getting very precise here. And in a love spread, it could relate to somebody who is I was going to say a Taurus. For some reason that popped into my head, but it could be any earth sign. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Now, look at the number here. This is an 8. I don't know how much you can see, but 8 is the number of that is connected to, I'm talking about astrology here. The 8th house is Scorpio. So it could be somebody who has both Scorpio as well as Earth in their chart. But if we're just looking at it in terms of the card, it could be somebody, you could be working on your marriage very diligently because of that 7th house activity. That relates to a relationship like a marriage, not somebody that you just started dating, not like a casual relationship, something like a long-term relationship. So you may be doing a lot of work on your relationship. And as I have noted in past videos, there's a balance there, because if you're working too hard at something, especially when it comes to a relationship, which does not, have the same rules as something that is physical or tangible, like, working on some project, that the variables are not as unpredictable. Relationships are very messy because emotions are intangible and you can't control them. You can control gross matter. Like this man is nailing something. So that's something you can control your hammer, you can control your nail and your materials. But in terms of relationships, you can only exert so much effort into it before it becomes a lost cause. So just remember that if, I hear that where they go, well, we're working on a relationship. Well, if it's that, in need of repair and work, then are you really compatible? That's something that has to be addressed. So let's talk about, I've divided this into 3 parts for the 3 parts of the month. So we can say like the first 10 days. Oh, one of the things too is that you have Jupiter in Virgo, and this falls in your 4th house, okay, of home and family. And so if there has been any kind of hinky situation where things were not going well, either maybe you were trying to buy a property, because Jupiter can lead to expansion, and it can, when you have a transit of Jupiter in the 4th house, it can be you moving into bigger digs, so maybe you tried back in January to have this happen, or maybe you thought you had closed on a house and it fell through in that period at the beginning of January. Because I believe, didn't we have a Mercury retrograde as well around that time? But the Jupiter went retrograde, I believe, on January 7th, and Mercury was retrograde around that time as well. And you may have seen things kind of grind to a halt in your home and family sector. If there was something you were really trying to make happen, like selling a house or buying a house, things may start to flow more easily after May 9th, because that's when Jupiter is going direct. So just a heads up on that. So this first period of time will be going up until the Jupiter turns direct, okay? So any of these cards might reflect that past, and some of them may have to do with things that were a little bit halted, for the time being. So we have the Page of Rods, you coming into the month with this kind of fresh, enthusiastic energy. It could relate to a child, especially a fire sign child, but it could just be you having a lot of ideas, a lot of just being very fertile in the realm of ideas, as well as the passion that comes from that. Pages relate to messages. So this could also be you hearing enthusiastic news, or news that makes you feel enthusiastic. And it just starts the month on a great note, and you're feeling very excited about what's going to transpire. Now, it could also be in relation to a love interest. So maybe some of you have met somebody who's younger than you, because pages represent youth, or that kind of youthful energy, sometimes naive energy, green, as we call it, people that are unseasoned, but it could be an innocence. But some of you may be dating somebody who is younger than you, and it's bringing you this, there's a freshness from this person. The fire signs, it could be a fire sign person who is younger too. I mean, so that would be Aries and Sagittarius and Leo. Oh my goodness gracious. Here I am, a Sagittarius, and I've drawn a blank. So, the fire signs do very well with the air signs. We are complementary. We're masculine energy. We project our energy outwards, and we tend to be very, long, what's the term? Expansive in our thought. I'm talking about we fire signs. You air signs are, oriented towards thought and communication. That's the basis. We're more passion and you're more in terms of communication. But when you bring those two things together, you get something like the Page of Wands. So maybe that's representing you and that person. But it's a positive energy. Now, the advice is the Seven of Swords, which I also got from Taurus in a different position. The Seven of Swords is about using discretion. And Gemini people tend to let things out of the bag by, their nature. So if you're already in a relationship with somebody, you're going to have to kind of keep things on the down low. And I don't mean being deceitful, which this card can sometimes represent too. It can represent theft. It can represent doing things in a sneaky manner, kind of like getting out of Dodge. But I feel like, what's that? How does that saying go? Discretion is a better part of valor. It's just a thing of not broadcasting your life, maybe keeping a bit mum for reasons that will benefit you. For instance, if you are involved with somebody else and you've met this Page of Wands, rods, you might have to, it might be a little bit messy when you're dealing with another person. So don't go on Facebook and change your status or, take a picture. I can't believe how many people, post pictures of, the person that they're cheating with on Facebook. I mean, I'm sure it's not that common, but I've heard of it, and that's just like Darwin Awards time. But anyway, so this person could also be a grifter. So maybe, maybe you have to watch out too of this person that, be careful that you really know this person in case they turn out to be a con man. It could also mean the Seven of Swords might mean that there's an air sign that's in the picture. And maybe it's somebody that you are stepping out on with this new person. And the outcome for that period of time is the Page of Swords, which is kind of like being vigilant about whatever's happening. It's the card of the spy. So it's always possible that this card is telling you that maybe that person is not telling you the whole truth about, their relationship status. So again, remember that there's a lot of 7th house activity for you. So that you might find out that your spouse is with the fire sign. There's all possibilities here. And so you're going to have to do your detective work. You're going to have to make like Nancy Drew and do some sleuthing. I don't know if anybody under the age of like 35, reads Nancy Drew. But in any case, and in business, let's take it from that level. You might hear something about a job offer. You have to kind of play it safe with your employer or be a little bit mum about it, and then really kind of monitor the situation and stay vigilant to make sure that this is really legitimate. In the second period of time here, the middle of the month kind of deal, we have the Six of Wands, which is a victory card. So you're going to have some kind of success, whether it's taking a bow in terms of some recognition with your career, or in your private life, maybe you do get the fire sign individual. Maybe that person does come to you, and you feel like on top of the world, and this is, you're resting on your laurels, and you have every right to. But it's a very positive card. It's a very affirmative card of success. This is the one that jumped out, and this is the Six of Cups, and this is the advice. If you have decided to get involved with somebody, and it could be somebody, it doesn't have to be, by the way, when I keep attributing different elements to these people, it's not necessarily going to be that the wands, even though they relate to fire, that person is a sun in Aries or whatever. It could be that they have that as a signature. They might even be an air sign like you, but they have a lot of fiery energy, and it just kind of stands out. So it could be on the ascendant, because the ascendant tends to be, the rising sign tends to be what is, shown to other people. And sometimes that rising sign can be totally different than what the person really is. And so with the Six of Cups, it's talking about, reminiscing from the past and seeing life from a simpler perspective and getting simple about life, not complicating things. It could relate to children. But with you notice these are both six, the Six of Wands, the Six of Cups. Six relates to the whole, it relates to, actually, in numerology, the six relates to love, okay? And that's why in the major arcana, the six is the Lover's card. But, it's connected to Venus, in other words. So whatever Venus is involved with, the six is involved with. So are, beauty in and of itself. So and by the way, it also deals with, harmony, okay? Because Venus is associated with harmony. So we have to look at the cups to decide what kind of harmony. So this is a harmony that relates to emotions. So it's a kind of a very peaceful energy, but that's primarily because it's looking at the kind of idyllic time, which tends to be the past, childhood in particular, and it could relate to children. So you may have a situation come up where you have to think of your children. Even though this is such a positive card that precedes it, that I don't see that there's anything bad on the horizon. As a matter of fact, I think there's something very good. What it could be saying, though, is that, because we do have as an outcome the Devil card, which relates to compulsive behavior that you feel that you have a hard time shaking, letting go of. So it could be a situation where you have a lot going on, like maybe you have met somebody really positive and good for you, but you still have this other person that, and it could be maybe just like a sexual relationship. Maybe you have very, very strong chemistry with somebody, but you have a terrible relationship otherwise. And yet that sex keeps bringing you back into this very degrading situation. But the degradation is almost the turn on. In other words, because Gemini really values freedom and is very detached, having a relationship that is based on sex could be something that appeals to you, not so much for the sex, but for the limited aspect of the relationship. In other words, you get to have your freedom. So let's say it was like a sugar daddy relationship. Let's say there's a woman, and I was going to say a young woman because I think most of those arrangements occur when the woman is young and the man is very established. Let's say you have a sugar daddy arrangement, and it's not a good scene. I mean, you don't have any kind of rapport with this person. It's all about the sex. Maybe it's not really bad, like, negativity, like that person is disrespecting you, but it's just that that it's not going to lead anywhere, and yet it's providing you something. And so it's creating a compulsion because it's giving you a payoff. But part of the payoff isn't just necessarily literally money that you get from that person, but it could be the sexual aspect of it, but it could be just the fact that there are no strings attached. And so you can have the illusion of being in a relationship, and you can like pretend that you're in one, but you're really not. And it's actually, when you have the Devil card here, it's actually showing that it's causing problems within you for some reason. Maybe that person is married, maybe you're involved with a married man or something. But whatever's going on, there's like a part of you that knows it's wrong, but a part of you that can't break off from it. So I wanted to also, this is really weird. This is the Devil card in the Major Arcana is the number 15, okay? What does 1 plus 5 equal? It equals 6. So we have 3 sixes in, 666 in that second portion of the month. So that's very interesting. So I feel like it's more of a domestic issue than necessarily a career matter. I feel like this is more of a personal situation. So that's what I get from that period of time. Now, the last third of the month, we have the 6 of Swords in reverse for what's happening. We have the 4 of Swords, and we have the Hierophant, okay? Now, The Six of Swords in the upright position is about moving away to calmer, more peaceful waters. Remember I said that 6 represents harmony and peace, okay, serenity. And so this is reversed, which means that the energy is blocked. Maybe you're having a hard time moving ahead with your life. Again, with that Devil card right behind it, it could be because of that. You do have some positive energy here with the Six of Wands. So it may be just a mixed bag. Maybe your professional life is doing great, and maybe it's your private life where there's some issues that are occurring. So in any case, you may feel stuck, or it could be that you are trying to escape your problems. Maybe you're trying to run away from them and you're not dealing with them head on. Now, again, I said there's a lot of energy bearing down on that 7th house. So make sure that you're not going to just run away from your responsibilities. Let's say you're married and you're tempted to run off with somebody who really lights your fire, so to speak. And you've been in a marriage that just is dead, and yet you still have to sort out some of this stuff. You can't just wash your hands of it. So it's just indicating that you're having trouble dealing head on with what's happening. The advice is the 4 of Swords, and I love this advice because this is about taking a breather, maybe setting yourself apart, recharging your batteries, and this can actually mean physical recuperation. So if you have been feeling drained, and as I say, with all of that 12th house activity, that may really sap your vital energy. So notice that this is occurring in the last week of the month. So this is the time when the sun will go into your sign. And I do feel that this card about recharging your batteries, you will see your batteries recharging very quickly as the sun and Venus enter that house. And as Mercury, which is your ruler, turns direct on the 24th. That was something I did not mention, because it's actually the retrograde is in Taurus until the 23rd or so, okay? And so it will be affecting you in a very subtle kind of a way. From the 12th house, it could be kind of spiritual messages that are harder to discern. Maybe you have dreams, but they're kind of jumbled. But when Mercury turns direct, and as it goes into your sign, after this period of time, as it goes, as it makes up ground in Taurus, it will eventually go into your sign also, like the sun and like Venus. And all of these things will gradually start to perk you up a bit. And you will have your new moon of the year occurring on June 4th. So that's not too long after the end of this reading as well. So just recharge your batteries, because you're really going to have a wonderful new solar cycle, or if Gemini is your rising sign, a new cycle starting with your natal chart starting with the 1st house. And then the outcome is a Hierophant, and this can connect with some people with marriage. It's all about the conventional values, and but for some of you it may be about really becoming more spiritual, because you guys are coming from an intellectual vantage point. The way that you approach life is very analytical, and it serves you well in many contexts, but sometimes you have to get beyond the rational mind. Sometimes the rational mind can be very misleading and very incomplete in terms of a total understanding of what's happening to you. And so the Hierophant card is about the bigger picture, what is life all about? What's it all about, Alfie? Remember that? Just, questioning even is a great thing. So this is coming on the heels of that kind of retreat, you could call it, the Four of Swords. And it's great. So maybe you will start to look at life in a much more philosophical, spiritual type of way. And having come from all that 12th house activity, that wouldn't surprise me. So I feel like to summarize that, the overall energy is you really working hard. So that might be very successful, monetarily for you as well as career. But then you have a lot of that dramatic relationship energy that is kind of also represented by the transits that I mentioned. So I'm going to, Gemini, I'm going to read, I'm going to pick a card from the Law of Attraction deck that I have from Abraham Hicks, which I really love the artwork, and read what it says on the back, okay? And these are beautiful cards. I really like them. The only thing about them is they're a little bit, the wording is a little bit unusual, and so it may, sometimes I'm kind of scratching my head because it's kind of, the way things are phrased is a little bit different, but the colors are just so amazing, and I love just looking at it. It's so rich, and the imagery, just so cheerful and hopeful, and I think that's what they were going for. These decks are so neat, I'm starting to amass my own collection as other readers have done, and it's very fun to play around with these. And I'm probably going to start doing a mid-month reading where I incorporate just these cards. I don't know if you would call these oracle cards so much, as these are, for the Law of Attraction, they're kind of positive affirmations or ideas, So the writing is on the other side, so I'm not going to look at it as I shuffle, so I don't just, which it really doesn't matter. It's just kind of a nice thought to end the reading with. Okay. It's so funny because I got this one card. I picked it for myself before, and I was thinking, oh my God, what if I pick this for anybody in a reading and it doesn't, connect to everybody? It says, our little babies are also thinking beings. And I'm going to try to hold it up so that you can see it. And on the back it says, the child is thinking on the day it enters your environment. And so beliefs are easily transmitted from adults to children. The child is vibrationally receiving your fears and your beliefs, even without your spoken word. So give thought only to that which you want, and your child will receive from you only the vibration of those wanted thoughts. Well, boiled down, that just simply means watch your words around children, because they are like sponges, and they pick up on these things. And, people really don't even realize in casual conversation how many things they say that are totally inaccurate, but they're, they treat it like it's, the truth, like somebody will say, well, I just can't do that, whatever the thing is. And they just, it might be something that they could totally do, but they're just so closed off to the possibility. And if a child hears a parent say that, then they will, just logically think that about themselves and place limitations on themselves. Or if, you say things about money, money doesn't grow on trees is such a common phrase. And so it implies that there's scarcity. It implies that there's a limit. And children pick up on that as well. Now, the reason I had kind of like misgivings, or I was afraid of picking this card for this type of reading, is because I was thinking, oh my God, what if somebody isn't a parent? How can they relate to that? But really, this applies to all of us. What do we tell ourselves? How do we talk to ourselves? What are our beliefs do we hold? And, if you keep repeating those things, there's a vibration in that. And, And just like, your child can receive that, you receive it from yourself. What about your spouse? What about your family members or your friends? I mean, what kind of conversations do you have? Do you have conversations where you talk about all of your problems all the time? Or do you talk about what you want? Does that seem crazy? To just have conversations based upon your dreams, your aspirations. So it's really putting you in charge of these kinds of matters, because some people think, I just think thoughts, or they're thinking me. It's like, no, it's like in the Tarot, there's the Chariot card, the number 7 in the Major Arcana, and it's like, no, you have to hold on to those reins. You can't let the horse drive you. You have to drive the chariot yourself by holding on to the reins. So it's about self-empowerment at the end of the day. Okay, Gemini, well, happy birthday to the early ones, and I wish you all the best. If you would like a private reading, please click on the link below, and take care of yourself. Bye.